What's up, bros, hoes, gigolos? Can all hear bulls on Wall Street? Dude, we had the setup to roll over today, and we didn't. That tells us a lot of stuff too, right? So let's take a look at the indices and see what the game plan is. So the market had some news out on the weekend that, Iran was doing this and Trump was doing this. And it looked like we were going to gap down yesterday in the futures market, and we did not, right? Like we ended up having a short spike down at the open, and it got bought up. And that's just your telltale sign of bull market behavior. No matter what type of indicator or system you use to measure what a bull market is, whether it is moving averages, whether it is market breadth, just simple price action, or location on charts, we are in a bull market, right? We're above all the EMAs, we're at all-time highs, and we see stuff like this where the dips are getting bought, right? So that's a good thing if you're a bull. We do need to tighten up here. Even if we just grind around for a few days, that'll allow the 98 to just tighten up here a little bit, and it's going to look a lot better. The first thrust is done, right? That was some of the big moves. Easy monies are always in that first thrust. But the second thrust is really where you start to see the trends, and you could do things without taking a little bit of a leap of faith like you kind of have to do at the bottom, right? And so that ends up being a little bit less stress-free type of trade. So the market is looking good. I wouldn't read too much else into it. Hot is hot, heat is heat. Let's take a look. I love the look of this poet here. Bella Fugura, right? Like, it's just, if this thing can bust out this 930, looks good. It could use one more day to just tighten that thing up a little bit and get up in the keister, but that's just a good looker right there. That looks like some good old-fashioned God-fearing Christian fun. This CRDO, guys, I had this on my list to hit for the flag. It dipped off at the open. You guys know I normally not trading really past into the afternoon anymore. I like to play with my little boy. You guys see him. He's a looker, man, right? Like, get a kid that key, you got to take him out, man. Got to take him out and do the Lord's work with him. Take him to the beach, roll around on the bikes. I got that little baby seat that goes on the back of the bike, and and we put that helmet on and we roll, so we like to do some of that stuff in the afternoon. So I'm not going to be here for all this, but look at that. I think this is something. It kind of looks like NVIDIA, where it's like not a very clean, like kind of breakout level. It's like there's like a little bit of, doohickeys going on, but it's still not bad. YSS IPO breakout, just very simple flag pattern. The 40 spot is your spot. ALB, man, this thing, you get this thing over 192, I think you're going to be there. Look at this BE, man. This thing is, that looks ready to go. When they just kind of spike down like this, like $5-10 at the open, they just rip it back. That's your bull market trading, right? Where like, bear flags or, dips down to previous day's levels, they all get bought up. So keep an eye on that. I really like this AMPX. It's more of a swing trade setup. It's got good enough ATR at 8%, but it's a little bit cheaper. It feels like one of those ones like, if you micromanage it, you'll take a bunch of small losses and you'll have like 20-cent gains. But, if you rip it on a swing, like it'll take 5-10 days, but maybe you'll make 5 points on it, or right, going back into that. So just something to be a little bit mindful of. APLD, this sector is starting to fire, and this one's trailing a little bit in terms of just like, how much it's moving compared to the rest. By the way, it's up 50% off its low, so it's moving. But I feel like it's got a little bit more catching up to do. You got a level right here around this 32. Let's add that to the list. Hey, GLW, this thing is, dude, you're just petting the snake right there. It's popped up, and then pet the snake on that. Oh, don't say that in public to anybody, but that thing is looking juicy. That's tight, man. You got a spot right there. Light is a little bit more of pet the snake too, but more burrito like, right? It's not as tight, but it's there. Like, it's there. Now, it only does 3 million shares in day in volume, and it's $1,000. You can use this LIDX, which has the same volume, but it's the 2x ETF. And that'll give you a little bit more juice, but then also, much cheaper price. And you'll have much better liquidity because it's just cheaper with the same amount of volume. So something to just keep in your back pocket. SNDK has one too called SNNX. I've traded this quite a few times, and it moves really good. Like, see, this thing's $28, right? Like, this thing, when it goes, it goes. So that's the list. I got a big, long, dirty list of all sorts of stuff, but I think these are the proper ones. Now, the thing to remember too is that the market's due for a pull. Like I think some of these high flyers like this, they did a nasty little dilution over here, and it also read a little bit toxic. So I'll have to kind of dig into it, but at the first glance, it looked like maybe they did like 500 million in dilutions, but then there was some over allotments and there's gonna be some funny stuff in this one because it was $2. Like these guys got to be diluting than paying themselves, right? Like, dude, you're running this like iron shavings weird business that sells the AI, and you're like, you're like in the Guangdong province of China, dude. You go from $2 to $70. Like, you gotta dilute, man. You gotta dilute. Get yourself to Orlando. Take your kids to Disney World and do it the right way. You got it. Maybe you're sitting there and you're like, you know what? I don't want to go to, Disney World per se, but I'm going to go on a Carnival Cruise line and hit that pizza buffet, right? Meet some Gujarati people, go on that cheese pizza line. Dude, you're living life. But to get to there, with all this inflation, you got to be diluting pay, so I don't blame them. They should be doing it. I was surprised they didn't actually do any more considering, it probably goes back down to $2 at some day. Anyways, might as well enjoy your, life. But I'm watching it. I wouldn't be surprised to see them squeeze it for a hot second before everybody finds out, then realizes like the dilution's coming. IREN did something, right? Remember they did, they're a $12 billion company. They did $6 billion in dilution. So then, like, you really kind of you rug this thing for quite some time, right? Like, it's like an untradeable stock. Look at this thing now, because like that ATM's probably just running on it. So just be mindful of AXTI. It was an awesome run, amazing trader. I made a lot of money on this thing. Also lost a lot of money on it too because the range is big and the spread is big. But it's a good old fashioned God-fearing Christian stock. I love you guys. Release.